1 o'clock. I will call this meeting to order. First up, agenda additions and approval. Is there anything from staff?
There is none from administration, Mr. Chair.
Anything from the board? Can I get a mover?
I'll move acceptance of the agenda.
All right. Seeing no questions, all those in favor? And carried. Next up, we have minute approval for May 20th, 2026. Has everyone had a chance to review that?
I'll move the minutes as presented.
All right. All in favor? And carried. I think it would be appropriate, since we have a couple members from the public, that we do a quick round of introductions, and I believe they are here for 7.1, right? The board is all right with it. We will jump to 7.1 after introductions. Seeing no objections, start with you, Rich.
Rich Fitzgerald, GIS Coordinator and Development Officer.
Krista Schlender, Administrative Assistant.
Alan Gano, board member.
Wade Hunter, board member.
Justin Stevens, good afternoon.
Janet Adam, board member.
Clint Walker, board member.
Oh,
He's still getting settled. Maybe go ahead.
what?
Craig Teal, Director of Planning and Development.
Andrew Burshik, Director of Municipal Services.
And joining us online.
Larry Clark, board member.
All right. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Curtis County.
Corlin Fuller.
Welcome. Who's going to be presenting this one? Craig?
That'll be me, Mr. Chair. So Andrew, if we could bring up the sketch on page 75. And as we were joking about already, this is a location in the north end of the county in the Denalda Red Willow ward. It is a first parcel out of an unsubdivided quarter section to create about a 25-acre parcel, largely around the farmstead and the lands that aren't cropped, which you can see indicated on the air photo. Staff don't have any concerns with the application. The recommendation is for approval. The MDP does allow us to consider larger parcels as a first parcel out. This doesn't face municipal reserve dedication. There's no concerns with the access points. There's a little brushing that may be required for improved sight distance, but there is good sight distance available. There is a need for road widening and road dedication on the south boundary. That's where we do have a developed county road. And that would take the form of a road widening acquisition agreement. This particular application faces a sizable contribution for the Rural Development Fund, so the calculation for staff have been put in for your consideration. It doesn't manage to benefit from the full 10% acres that would be eligible for the farmstead because everything's relatively compact. The buildings and paddocks are in pretty close to just under the 60-acre area. But there's a series of wetlands that we've measured as accurately as we can to subtract those because our policy doesn't apply to that. So nonetheless, there's around a $13,000, 13 acres that is eligible for the committee to consider. If we could jump to page 72, back to page 72, I suppose. You'll see the conditions recommended to be attached to the approval. The ones that are outstanding are the ATCO Electric request for a right-of-way and easement. So they do have an existing facility that crosses property lines. The road acquisition agreement that I mentioned is a condition number 4, and that would be taking place across the south boundary of the property. Then number 5 is the brushing issue at the existing access to improve sight lines, which of course county crews would take care of when their workload suits. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to field any questions.
All right. Anyone have any questions, comments, concerns?
No,
Would you like to?
I'd
move
like to move to approve
with staff
with
recommendation?
the staff recommendations. Oh,
Okay.
what was that, Craig?
No. It's all right. So, board member Adam has moved this with staff recommendations, but I'd like to give the applicant an opportunity to speak. If there's anything you would like to add, clarify,
Just.
can you come up to the mic, please? The big button at the bottom. Oh,
There, it's on green. Yep. No, basically just a question about the MPC fees, what they entail, and if they're negotiable at all. I understand that you've made a threshold of 40 acres for it to still be a farm, ensuing or maybe thinking that this is not going to be agriculture anymore. It's not going to change its pasture. We pasture it every year. It's not going to change its use if it's not attached to the quarter. Just wondering if the MPC fees of $1,000 an acre are negotiable at all.
fair enough. We historically we have shown some leniency in very specific occasions. If it were not previously usable as farmland, the intent of the policy itself is to preserve farmland so that it doesn't become so fragmented that we have large swaths of the county that are not usable for farmland. And that's why, as indicated by staff, the wetlands in the acreage was deducted from that amount. So we have done some minor tweaks along those lines. To my memory, outside of those sort of minor situations, we haven't done that, but it's, I guess, not without a first. What are the feelings of the board?
Actually, I had subdivided and I just paid it. It's more than I thought it was gonna be, but I just paid it. It's whatever. It's all good.
Board member Clark?
Yeah, I think, those rules were put in place and have been enforced. As you say, there's been some, uh, giving, when it came to certain pieces that weren't agriculture, when it comes to wetlands, et cetera. So, no, I think if that's the size that you want to subdivide off, that is the number that's in place for that reason.
My first thought, and I can appreciate the fact that your intent is to still use this as pasture in farmland. What I would say is that you may not be the owner forever. Right. You have every right to sell this as an acreage. And at that point, it very well could be no longer used as farmland. So if our policy is intended to ensure that we protect our farmland, this is our only kick at the can in order to try and do the nudge towards
To try and
protecting our
discourage it,
farmland.
yeah.
From a strictly taxation policy wise, I know that there's been others with small acreages that have brought proof of use for agriculture. So if, let's say if 10 acres of that were used as pasture, for example, others have brought forward that for a taxation purpose, that not all of the 24.88 acres would be zoned or assessed as residential. There is that option moving forward, but unless I get some additional feedback, I think the board seems to be in line with the
What, may I suggest 50% of the fees? Since
you-
they are planning to dedicate it, but we still get some of portion?
you certainly can make that motion. Are you removing your previous motion?
I would like to amend I would like to amend the motion with approving it with the 50% of the fees associated with the parcel.
We'll have to be specific about what fees, because there's
The-
subdivision fees.
The
and
subdivision fees that would cost the 1,000 an acre,
The rural development fund
that one.
specifically, so we're looking at, in the notes, it would be A. Any other questions or comments from the board? Go ahead.
I just, for some reason not working, but how many of those acres got taken out of there for slough and that? Again, I count.
5.51.
So we're down to about 20 acres.
So the rural development fund would apply to 13.71 acres.
Oh,
So there is a set allotment for the wetlands that were removed already, as well as the farm proper, which is allowed.
what's going on?
Any other questions about what's being proposed?
I would, and I'll vote this way. I think we need to stick to our, what administration has put forward, and more so, the intention of the Rural Development Fund as it's wrote.
Any other questions or comments? Well, all those in favor? And that motion is defeated. Is there another board member that would like to make a motion? Go ahead, Board Member Clark.
Yes, I'll move that we take this forward as per staff recommendations.
All right. Any other comments? Call the question. All those in favor? And carried. Are you opposed?
Yeah, I'm holding to my last one. To my
Yeah,
last
yeah,
motion.
that's fine. I was just clarifying on this particular motion. All right. And well,
I guess that's it. So,
thanks a lot for coming in,
no problem.
and good luck.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we will jump back to development permit 6.1.
What page is that, Chair?
Page 10.
Page 10, okay, thank you.
You're taking this, Rich?
Yep.
All right, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the subject property is located in Erskine at 19 Fifth Street West. Surrounding properties are made up of agricultural and residential properties. The applicant is proposing to build a detached two-door garage measuring 32 feet by 42 feet for 1,080 square foot. Building, it measures 16'6" height to the finished grade of the peak of the roof. So the applicant is requesting a variance to be able to place this in the front yard of his property. So it's going to need a variance for that. And he's also requesting a variance to allow for it to be 10 feet from the property line versus the required 25 feet. They're also requesting a height variance from 16 feet is the maximum allowed, and they want to go about 6 inches above that. So it's a 3% variance to allow for the height. So we do have provisions in the land use bylaw that allow us to apply the variance to the development as long as the development is a use that is prescribed, which an ancillary building is a prescribed use in the Hamlet Residential District. The other conditions, of course, is that the variance will not cause a safety issue or affect adjacent landowners. So if I can get Andrew to turn to page 13. So that's a copy of a real property report of the property. So as you can see, to place the garage, the house is very forward on the property. So to place the garage anywhere but where they've selected would cause some logistical issues as well as access issues as well. But the way the garage is faced, you don't have to pull in off the road. Like the doors don't face the road. The doors are on the property, so they will be completely on their property while they're trying to get in and out of the garage. So they're not going to cause a safety concern or a traffic concern with that. It's not going to affect the neighbors in any way as well. The proposed area where they want to put the garage is already cleared. It's compacted gravel. Turn to page 14. There you go. So that's the location of where they're proposing to build it, where the vehicles and the trailer and this tractor are parked, and that's actually what the garage is going to be used for. So that all of what you see out there right now will be inside of the garage. So because it doesn't interfere with neighbors, doesn't create a safety hazard of any type, staff recommendation is that we approve the permit with the attached conditions on the proposed development permit. And that concludes my presentation, so I'll be happy to take any questions that you may have.
Go ahead.
My question is around the 25 feet down to 10. So we have 25 feet in place due to which? What is the,
Front yard setback.
and why do we have it? For safety?
Safety, snow clearing, because not all roads are the same. Like some of our local roads, like inside the hamlets, are heavy traffic roads. So you would want to have that 25 feet in case to keep vehicles back or, buildings back from the road, so that snow clearing and different things like that can take place.
In some situations, you would want additional room if there's a utility right away as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you did have to go in and make repairs.
Andrew, can we just go to the picture again where the photograph of this one? Thank you. So that the corner would be of the structure would be close to where that RV is right now?
A little bit farther inside, but yes, it'd be
Okay.
in that general area.
So there's a ditch there or a driveway, but there's, okay. Thank you.
Sure. One of the considerations that I took before I made the recommendation, Fifth Street West only serves the residents on that road. Like it doesn't go anywhere else. And there's, I think, 4 residences along that roadway. So it's not a very high traffic road. So I did take that into consideration before making the recommendation.
Just a point for administration, note moving forward. This is another example where during the MDP LUB update, if there is not a back alley, I'm not sure if we want to be quite as prescriptive on our front yard variance for garages. This is another one where it doesn't make as much sense to me when it's only one side that you can access from. I would like to streamline that moving forward so that if that was the only variance, then staff could move this along without us. Did you have your hand up? Go ahead.
Is that 25 feet? Is that from the center of the road
No, from the property line
to
So-
where?
into the.
Oh,
property.
okay.
Right.
And then, okay, so we don't have nothing from the road to center of the road to,
Not in.
no restrictions.
Right, not in this, it's not measured from this district, in the agricultural district. It's measured from the center line of the road.
Oh, okay.
So these ones, it's from the private property line to the road allowance. That it's from that line is where it's measured.
There's no other discussion. I could move development permit 26024 approval with staff recommendations.
Seeing no other hands, I'll call the question. All those in favor? And carried. Next up, 6.2, Development 26026. Is this you again, Rich?
Yes, it is, sir.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Andrew, perfect. Thank you, Andrew. So the purpose of this application is to consider the construction of a 600 square foot addition to an existing dwelling with a variance to the front yard setback. So this setback is measured from the center line of the road in 125 feet. The house on the subject property was constructed prior to 1940. I'm not sure what the setbacks were at that time. It very well may have met the required setback because it's about 100 feet back from the center line of the road. But needless to say, as of today, it does not meet the required setback. And what the applicant is proposing to do is build in the same line that the house is constructed in now. They're not getting any closer to the road. So they're not going to get any closer than what it currently is right now. They're just asking to build the footprint out a little bit. Again, it's not a very high traffic road. While we were there, I think maybe one vehicle drove by while we were doing the site inspection. The proposed development, can I get you to turn to page 24, Andrew? So that's a picture of the existing dwelling, and that is the side that they will be adding the addition on. The proposed development is in the agricultural district, and the variance to the front yard setback will not interfere with neighboring properties, nor will it cause any safety hazards, as the house has been here since the 1940s with no issues. Therefore, administration recommends that the development permit be approved with the attached conditions as detailed in the draft development permit, with a 20% variance to the front yard. And that concludes my presentation, and I'll be happy to take any questions you may have.
Any questions from the floor? Go ahead.
I'd like to move approval of development permit 26026 with staff recommendations.
All right. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? And carried. Next up, we have development permit 6.3 DP 26031. Who's taking this one? Greg, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Andrew, I think, yeah, if we can start on page 33. So this application is for yet another addition to the Bar W Resort location. MPC members may recall the last development permit we dealt with just before Christmas was to add a mini golf, which is currently under construction. And just to get your bearings, building 5 that you can see on the site plan, so the one on the right hand side, that's the shop building for the overall resort, and the mini golf would just be to the right, to the east of that. So the proposal for this development permit is to create a combined use building of recreation indoor facility. So most of the building is for a big open event space, for flex space for use of events when it's inclement weather. And on an upper mezzanine level, there would be a living space for a security operator. So the two different uses that are allowable in the district on recreational facility. The security operator dwelling was part of the original approval, but it's changed a fair amount to expand to this 34-foot by 84-foot wide larger building, combining the two uses. Staff do not have concerns with the proposed use and the nature of the building, so it does meet all the planning requirements, though I do want to draw some attention to the public assembly requirements and the fire response issues. Those factor into the recommended conditions attached. So when you add an event space to a dwelling unit, you are definitely going to be in a different class of building code approvals. So we leave that to the building inspector that will be hired by the developer to make sure that the safety code is properly enforced. When it comes to emergency response, we consult our fire department to get some feedback, and we can make changes or suggestions on the site plan. We don't get to deal with the building fire alarms or fire rating, but we can deal with the site plan to address any fire related or emergency response items. The two big items they've identified was making sure along the south boundary between the red hatched area and building 4, which is the store, that there's a good all-weather gravel access there for emergency vehicles to respond. And that's about a 40-foot wide area, and it's already graveled. And it does actually carry on behind building. Actually, can we go jump to the photo on page 33, please. You could 31. You can get a better sense of that, I believe. So where you see the poles, that on the very lower photo on the left, that's where the building would be. And building 5 is the one in the far distance. Building 4 is the one in the near, and the space in between is the 40 feet of gravel that I'm speaking with. So that helps address the fire department access issue for the public assembly building. We've also added some conditions on the very ends, which may be grassed or may be graveled, that for a 20-foot space on either end, that there not be any other structures or buildings or anything that would obstruct fire crews from or emergency crews from being able to go up that side of the building. So beyond that, staff have no concerns with the recommendation. Some of our issues like traffic generation are already accounted for, given that the audience and the users of this facility will be those that are already in the resort. So their travel to and from has already been accounted for in the previous approvals. So with that, Andrew, if we can jump to page 37, we'll see the development permit. So the recommendation is approval with conditions attached, and it's condition number 5 and 6 that go to the access issues that I was pointing out, Mr. Chair.
All right. Any questions from the board? Go ahead.
I seem to recall on previous meeting regarding this group where they had some outstanding, did they not, with us? I didn't know.
I'm not sure if you're talking about the development permit stage or just our general operations.
I think it's general.
Okay.
Wondering if
Um,
we should factor in
So
approving more if they still owe a lot.
Oh, you're thinking financially if there's anything outstanding.
Yeah.
Andrew, can you? or
actually,
Craig?
I'm
Yeah. Okay.
if you recall, orientation, relevant planning considerations, finances, their ability to collect taxes, not necessarily one of the high ones.
Right.
So we do have to make our decision based on relevant planning considerations.
Okay. My question is, in the original development permit, we did, or the applicant did envision some level of permanent occupancy. And I believe we set a limit for the maintenance, security type staff. So this would be within our original permit
Yeah.
allowances, because I think we allowed a few. I was just wondering what we're currently sitting at.
So, Mr. Chair, in the original approval, we also allowed the security operator dwelling in it.
Yep.
We also allowed outside of the seasonal restrictions on the RV sites themselves for the staff that would come and get the area prepped up for the opening of the season and then to probably be there a little bit later to close. Up to 5 of the stalls could be designated for that purpose for family members or maybe laborers or people directly employed by the resort.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Go ahead.
That 40 feet, you're happy with that from that building to the proposed convenience store? That's going to be enough room?
It is. The fire chief would have looked at a minimum of 20 feet.
Okay, so that's a fire lane that can't be parked.
It should be accessible all weather, but
Right.
I don't
So
think
that's leaving you 20 feet for that building plus the convenience store to
It-
park.
Mr. Chair, it's sufficient for the fire department's needs. I'm not sure we're going to be designated specifically as a fire lane.
Oh, no, I understand the fire
Vehicles
lane.
can be moved.
I'm worried about the parking for it.
The parking for the facility, again, given that it's the audience, so to speak, is already accounted for in the resort. So on each of the 318 parking or resorts or RV sites, there's 2 parking stalls. There's also quite a bit of additional visitor parking down the length of Bayview in the order of 60 to 80 additional stalls. So that's why we're comfortable in having, there is a parking relaxation as part of the approval to drop it down to 0. And that's the reason for that, because we've already accounted for the same parking need, the generation, in a previous decision.
So is that addressing the stores parking?
That does take into account the
Okay.
stores parking and all,
Yeah.
and the mini golf was different. We added additional parking when we did that permit because the audience for that is not just the resort users. It's a general public.
I'm
So
just
they
thinking, if you
weren't
got a lot
counted.
of vehicles at convenience store,
So yeah, well, there's 318 times 2 plus 60 to 80, so there's some 400 parking stalls across the entire site, and I'm probably doing a short
yeah, but
shift
are
on
they
the
gonna park, aren't they
overflow.
gonna park right in front of that convenience store?
Yeah, there are designated parking stalls in front of the
Okay.
convenience store. Yes,
So as long as there's designated, then that fire lane will stay open.
it
Yes,
is. So
is my concern.
it is. So the fire lane, when it circles around the back, you get into more of the shop space that the operator tries to use. So it's on the west hand side. There's kind of no vehicle, no entry type. Their own vehicles move into that area, but the general public is not supposed to go between that building, behind the store, and wrap around the shop. But the physical gravel that the fire truck would need, it will be there.
Mr. Chairman, can I just,
Go ahead.
Craig, to make sure we're all understanding? So the parking for the existing convenience store is on the south side of building 4 now, correct?
Yeah, sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the fire lane is the north side of season 4. So there's no overlap between the store park. Yes, no, it's different sides of the building.
Thanks. I witnessed that.
Thank you.
I would like to point out just in this map where they did the overlay, I believe that was in a previous version of their plan. So that road that appears to be cut off is no longer a roadway at that point. If you look at their aerial photo, it shows the, oh, can you scroll down, Andrew?
We do, but it's a 2021. You have to zoom in quite a bit, and
Yeah,
it's
so
not necessarily a reflection of the current
Fair enough.
situation. So,
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Can I get it?
I'll move for the DP 26031.
With staff,
Motion approved.
Larry?
He was just covering the camera.
Larry, were you trying to jump in?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, so Board Member Hunter is moving that we approve this development permit with staff recommendations. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? And carried. Next up, we have 6.4 DP 26034. And who's taking this one?
I'll take this one, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So the subject property is located about a half mile northwest of the hamlet of Red Willow on Township Road 40-4. Property is just over 10 acres in size, with a dwelling located in the northwest corner of the property, which was constructed in 2015. The remainder of the parcel is bare, with some vegetation to the east boundary. Property is mostly flat with a slight drop in elevation towards the road. The applicant is applying to construct a 2,000 square foot ancillary building to be used for storage of equipment and vehicles. The subject property is zoned agricultural, and an ancillary building is a permitted use up to 1,500 square feet. After 1,500 square feet, it becomes discretionary, and the maximum size of a discretionary ancillary building is 3,000 square feet. So the proposed development meets all the setbacks of the agricultural district, and I would like to correct a typo that I did in there. It is the agricultural district and not the resort residential district, as I had typed into the report here. But the application does meet all the required setbacks, and if I can get you to turn to page 47, Andrew. The proposed development will not affect the neighboring properties in any way. It doesn't create any hazards. It does meet the requirements in the land use bylaw, so staff recommends that the application be approved with the standard conditions as attached in the draft development permit. So that concludes my presentation for this report. I'll be happy to take any questions that you may have.
So is the only reason why this one is coming before this board is because it's larger than our
15, yeah, so the maximum that we as staff members can approve is 1,500 square feet.
Yep.
in a what we call a residential use. So it's not a farm building that's going to have an industrial use. It's a residential use. So
Okay. Any questions from the board? Go ahead.
I move that we accept this with the staff recommendations. Or we
Okay.
approve it with staff recommendations.
Perfect. Any other comments or questions? All right. All those in favor? And carried. Next up, we have 6.5. That's page 60 for those on Zoom. DP 26035. Go ahead.
okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So the purpose of this application is they're applying to place a CCAN deemed to be an ancillary building, which is a permitted use in the airport district. However, the subject property is adjacent to a multi-lot subdivision, so that makes this application discretionary. If I can get you to turn to page 61, Andrew. So the subject property is located at the airport and is surrounded by residential and agricultural uses. The applicant is proposing to place a 40-foot CCAN along the south side of lot 24 as indicated in the photo on your screen there. So the land use bylaw allows for the placement of a CCAN as a discretionary use as a permitted use in the airport district. However, because it's adjacent to that multi-lot subdivision, it makes this application discretionary. But we also have a provision in our land use bylaw that allows us to give a time-limited development permit. And I feel in this situation that is a pertinent use of this because this is a leased site. And I've discussed with the applicant, he figures that a 5-year time limit would meet what his requirements are. So because the application meets all the setback requirements, there are already CCANs on the property that haven't caused issue in the past. The location is not very visible from the adjacent multi-lot subdivision. What I am recommending, or staff is recommending, is that we approve the application, but we put a 5-year time limit on the permit, and that will be listed in the conditions of the draft development permit, which is attached. So that concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to take any questions that you may have.
Go ahead.
How many CCANs are out there?
I'm gonna rough guesstimate probably at least 4 or 5.
Okay, I guess too late now, but I didn't think we should encourage CCANs out there, but are those other ones, are they under that other special permit too?
I couldn't say for sure. I know one that I approved I should say I approved one that I presented that was approved 2 years ago, has a 5-year time limit on it as well.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Can you go through again the 5-year piece and why we've landed at that decision? It sounds like a couple years ago.
Right. So let me just make sure I'm quoting the right section here. I believe it's section 81.1 that allows the planning authority to put a time limit on a permit. So the reason that we put time limits on these CCANs, in my view, is over time they can become unsightly if they're not kept up. So that's one reason that you would put a time limit on it. The other reason is where these are lease sites, these sites change hands quite regularly. Generally, a permit stays with the piece of land, regardless of who owns it. The permit stays with the property. Where if we're approving it for this person for this use, I don't think we would want it to stay with the property and not have the ability to look at it again in 5 years time, kind of thing. So that's why I thought it was pertinent to add the time limit on this application, and discussing with the applicant, and he felt that the 5 years would meet what his needs are for it as well.
One of the things that I look at for this particular situation is it was noted that it was not visible from nearest residential. If in the next 4 to 5 years, that shelter belt were to all get cut down at the property edge, I would say that that's a bit of a new factor in how this may affect the adjacent residential. But if they maintain good screening, then it would be less of a factor. Craig, did you have your hand up?
Thank you, Mr. Just a little bit of add to Rich's explanation about the 5 years. I think if you recall, CCAN containers, when how we get them for a large number tend to be they've already done a couple trips across the Atlantic or the Pacific. They've been exposed to corrosive environments, and while they may start being relatively painted or still have paint on them, they may turn into rust very quickly. That's how they were originated and why it's kind of a secondary use for a facility that has outlived its original purpose. Unless you're getting a brand new, who's never traveled the ocean can, but the vast majority that we anticipate having to deal with are the ones that have made at least a couple trips on the oceans.
Anything else from the board? Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve development permit 26035 with staff recommendations.
All right. Seeing no other hands, I'll call the question. All those in favor? And carried. Next up, we have Development Report 8.1, or Department Report, pardon me. We'll be taking this one.
I'll be taking that one, Mr. Chair. I just got to get to the right page here. As you can see in the charts, the total number of permits from May 10th to June 10th of 2025 was 8, and the total number of permits processed in that same time in 2026 was 9. I believe that, yeah. In 2026, 7 of the 9 permits are discretionary. Discretionary use permits take considerably more time to complete as they are required to be brought forward to MPC for decision. So we have to write the reports, we have to mail letters out, notify adjacent landowners, so on and so forth. And however, the RVs as a dwelling unit in multi-lot subdivisions are also a discretionary use, but the development officer has the ability to approve these permits so long as the RV is less than 15 years old, is in good condition, and there are no other variances or extenuating circumstances with the application. Planning staff have also started to record the number and types of inquiries we receive, as these inquiries can represent a considerable amount of staff time and resources that may not be represented in these charts that we bring forward. So it may not be giving you a full picture of what our time is dedicated to dealing with. That concludes my report. If you have any questions, be happy to field those.
Go ahead.
Typical year, is it both number of permits as well as that construction value? Does it feel like a busier year, about the same?
I think, Mr. Chair, in terms of the number of overall permits, it bounces anywhere from 100 to 120. We haven't been collecting the construction data consistently enough for us to go back and look at a trend, but next month is one of our scheduled, we do a little bit more of an elaborate report every quarter, and that may be a question that we can see if we can go back and at least answer the question for, say, the last 2 years. Going back previous to that, I don't think we were making sure that that blank was always filled in on the application, so I'm not confident in our data. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Can I get a mover?
I move to accept the report.
All right. All those in favor? And carried. New business 9.1, and that is rescheduling July's MPC meeting. We did reschedule ASBs. There's no hard and set rule that they have to align, but it does save slightly on some per diems. The one caveat, we have a little more flexibility with ASB versus MPC. There is a couple of timeline triggers that we have to meet unless the applicant is willing to grant us an extension. So my first question is to staff. By rescheduling, are we going to have any issues with our 40-day response time frame?
Mr. Chair, on the subdivision front, no. Largely because we get 60 days to work with, and we're pushing it back about 8 days if it's going to the 23rd. For our development permits, I think we've already had enough lead time to be able to jug around that. More often than not, if it's a matter of giving us an extra 5 days versus running a deemed approval or deemed refusal and then going the appeal route, most people will give us the extra day or so to get their approval. I don't. So do you recall any development agreements that are development permits, sorry, that are, yeah, okay, thanks.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'd like to move that we reschedule the next MPC meeting to 1 o'clock Thursday, July 23rd.
All right. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll call it. All in favor? And carried. No old business. Do we have anything in camera? Can I get a mover? Board Member Walker moves that in camera. All those in favor? And You're not voting? You really did quit. You can't abstain from a vote unless you're in conflict of interest. At least you don't hold a grudge. Are we back live?
We are.
That was a sufficient moment.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we've already rescheduled next meeting. We have no action coming out of in camera. So we only need a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn our meeting today.
Well,